Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Cowboys vet turns heads by claiming team is lying about roster move. The Dallas Cowboys offseason was full of drama, and it looks like this is following the franchise into the regular season. Dallas placed veteran defensive tackle Jordan Phillips on injured reserve with an injured wrist. This is a normal transaction, and these types of moves means the player will miss at least 4 games. The problem is Phillips is claiming he is not injured. Cowboys DT Jordan Phillips said he is going on injured reserve, but there is nothing wrong with his wrist. Clarence Hill Jr. detailed in a September 18 message on X, he said his wrist is fine. It is what it is. He has to accept the decision of the organization. Phillips previously underwent wrist surgery to repair an injury. There are 2 potential possibilities when it comes to the truth of Phillips' wrist. One is that there is some discrepancy between how team doctors view Phillips' injury and the way the veteran feels. Another more troublesome option is the Cowboys are placing Phillips on IR in an attempt to open up a roster spot. The Cowboys used the open roster spot to poach Carlos Watkins off the Commanders' practice squad. Dallas used the spot created by Phillips' move to injured reserve to poach defensive tackle Carlos Watkins from the Washington Commanders' practice squad. If this was the case, why wouldn't Dallas simply release Phillips to create the spot permanently rather than using the injured reserve as a temporary solution? The Cowboys may be reluctant to move on from Phillips so quickly since the franchise just acquired the defender via a trade with the New York Giants in August. Dallas still owes New York a future draft pick as part of the deal for Phillips. Regardless, it is not the best look for a player to be at odds with the franchise over the truthfulness of his injury designation. Phillips did not hold back in his discussions with reporters about the team's decision to shelf him for the next 4 weeks. "I don't know. That's above my pay grade. You have to ask the people making the decisions," Nick Harris detailed in his September 18 message on X. Disputes about his health aside, the bigger issue is that Phillips has not played well in his brief stint with the Cowboys. Phillips earned a dismal 29.6 grade, out of 100, from Pro Football Focus for his play through the first 2 games. Cowboys Jerry Jones delivers Dalvin Cook Week 3 reality check. If you were hoping to see Cowboys running back Dalvin Cook make his Dallas debut in Week 3 against the Ravens, you're probably not alone. The Cowboys were not impressive in any facet of the game in their Week 2 loss to the Saints, but the running game was one area that was especially lacking. That's to be expected for a team whose opponent builds a 35-13 first-half lead, but still, a running game that tallied 68 yards on 21 carries was especially disappointing. For the year, the Cowboys have gained just 170 yards on the ground, 25th in the NFL. Their average of 3.7 yards per attempt ranks 26th. This might be the perfect time for the Cowboys to unveil a 4-time Pro Bowl running back like Cook, who was signed on August 28 to fill out a suspect running back group that lost former Pro Bowler Tony Pollard and replaced him with aging ex-Cowboy Ezekiel Elliott. Except that team owner and de facto GM Jerry Jones says we're not likely to see Cook during the Week 3 showdown with Baltimore, the team Cook last played for after he was signed for the playoffs following a poor year with the New York Jets. Cowboys sticking with RB room. Speaking on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, Jones continued operating under the apparent delusion that the running game was peachy, a prospect that he and the franchise have put forward despite the obvious dearth of frontline backs on the roster. Elliott was a backup for the Patriots for most of last season. Rico Dowdle has struggled with injury and played only sparingly, 96 total carries in 3 years, in his time in the NFL. Still, Jones said, "We should not expect to see Cook, at least not yet. I don't know how it will pan out for us. We looked healthy as of yesterday with the running back room," Jones said. "Right now, we were pleased. We could have had some better protection in general with our running backs. That's a strong suit, of course, for Zeke. But Zeke got pretty hurried there on a few occasions. Right now, across the board, Rico did real well, I thought, in the game. So I don't necessarily see a change that would involve Cook this week. Dalvin Cook progressed very, very nicely. Cook has been with the practice squad for 3 weeks now, and if he does not play on September 22nd, it is unlikely the Cowboys will turn around and try to squeeze him onto the roster for the Week 4 matchup against the New York Giants, which is a short week, Thursday night game. Rising star Bears RB named trade candidate for Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys may still need help in the RB group, and one Chicago Bears ball carrier is being named as a worthwhile option. While the team has Dalvin Cook waiting in the wings, the overall performance of the group has been lackluster through 2 weeks. That's why Athlon Sports' Mike Fisher is considering the options in a September 20th article. One of the names mentioned is Bears RB Khalil Herbert, who has shown serious promise in his first few years in the league. A so-called rising star with the Bears, Herbert averaged 5.7 yards per carry last season. His $1.08 million cap hit makes him an attractive, cost-effective option, Fisher wrote. But he's a free agent after this year. So maybe Chicago will give him up for a pick. But he'd only be a rental in Dallas. That's not a thrilling case in favor of the move, but the point is there. Herbert is a proven RB who could be acquired for cheap. The biggest obstacle in the way of a trade is that the Bears are 1-1 and looking competitive rather than mid-season sellers. In the end, even as Dallas has $26 million in cap space if it wishes to use it, as you can see by our target, the fits aren't as they first appear. As the November 5th NFL trade deadline approaches, should the Cowboys view themselves as contenders, maybe they rethink their position. But right now, they don't need backups or plotters, and they don't want pricey or rentals, so right now, they're stuck. What do you think? Would be a good signing for the Cowboys? Leave your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the channel. See you in next video.